Hello, 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 it is F1 Spud here and welcome to a brand new video on the YouTube channel. And in today's video we are going to be doing our predictions for the Formula 1 and Formula 2 Championship for 2024. I'm not going to include Formula 3 because I'm just not aware, I'm not too sure on the drivers, really. And I don't really want to predict for something I don't really know too much about. Now, I watch F3, but it's like I don't know who the favourites are meant to be, stuff like that. Could it be a rookie? Could it not? I've heard a few good names out there, but I don't want to predict that. So I'm just going to do Formula 1 and Formula 2. If you are new, please drop a sub. It is really appreciated, and drop a like as well. Comment below who you think is going to win the Formula 1 Championship. And I'll go through my reasonings. Obviously, if you're not aware, I'm an Alex Albon fan, and I also support Red Bull Racing. So obviously being as unbiased as possible, but at the same time, my predictions are very, what's the word? It's gone. I think they're very clear, and I think a lot of people will have the same for a few of them. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. So in third place, now third and second were quite tough because it all just depends on how good the McLaren and the Mercedes are this year. I could have also went for Charles Leclerc, I get that, but I think it's really close, really. I think between second and eighth, no, second and ninth, it could go anywhere. So in third, I've gone for Lando Norris. Now the reason I've gone for Lando Norris, yeah, he hasn't won a race yet, but he was getting quite a few second and third places last season when the McLaren had the upgrade from, I think the upgrade started in Silverstone, if I'm right in saying. Norris, though very consistent with his performances, you don't really see him making too many errors either. Obviously, last season he was against rookie Oscar Piastri, and again, people could easily put Piastri in the top three. I think really second and third you can just predict them wherever and whoever you want to. Really, I think any of the drivers from the top four teams plus Fernando Alonso are reasonable. Yeah, I think Norris last season did show some fight into getting these P2s, but he never really challenged for a race win. Now, obviously, when I'm talking about a race win, I'm on about a Grand Prix here, not a sprint. That's completely different. So, for example, Piastri won a sprint. I wouldn't class that as winning a race. Well, it is a race, but it's not a Grand Prix, and that's completely different. I've gone for Norris in third. I almost put him second, but I think for Norris to come second in the drivers' standings, he would need to have the second best car for the majority of the season, and I'm just not convinced that McLaren will have the second best car for the majority of the season. I think they'll have it for some of the season, but not the whole season. So that's why I've put him in third. In second place, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, it's Hamilton's last year at Mercedes before he goes to Ferrari. Last year, I would say he was probably the second or third best driver on the grid, behind, you might want to say, Alonso and also obviously Verstappen. Yeah, he didn't win a race, but he was really consistent with his P2s and P3s, even when Mercedes might have had the third best car rather than the second best car. Yeah, I went for Hamilton in second over Norris just because he is the better driver, and we'll have to see what Mercedes have. They've obviously got a front wing, that is, some teams are a bit unhappy about. However, the FIA have deemed it legal, so that's that. Yeah, I think it'll be Hamilton in second, like it was in 2022. So you're probably thinking you've not put Perez in there, or is he in first place? He's not. In first, and for a fourth consecutive year running, I believe, and I think 98% of F1 fans also believe that Max Verstappen will be champion. The Red Bull looks really good in pre-season testing, especially the inlets, and a lot of the components looks really good, especially to cool the engine. And I think obviously engine cooling is really important. Last year, Max was the best driver on the grid comfortably. He didn't make any major mistakes. He won every race except three, every Grand Prix except three, and his performance is extremely consistent, and that's why he's won the last couple of championships. Red Bull do have the best car by the looks of it. Will that last the whole season? We don't know. Obviously, the Red Bull last season as well was extremely reliable with no DNFs because of technical issues for Verstappen. And the car, even though sometimes Red Bull deny it, the car is built around Verstappen, and I don't see an issue with that personally. I think if Mercedes had done that with Hamilton, that's fine. Obviously, will Ferrari do it with Hamilton? I don't think they will, personally, because I think they've got Hamilton as the present and Leclerc as the present and the future for the team. But yeah, I think Max will win. I think he'll win most of the races, and he'll become a 4-time champion of Formula One. Moving on to the constructors. As you'd probably expect, I've gone for Red Bull to win it again. Now, it's a tough one. I obviously really want to see Red Bull win it. Obviously, I wish it was Albon that would be champion, but I'm very happy with Verstappen being champion because he's a Red Bull driver. I'll always like the Red Bull drivers, and I quite like Verstappen. He's probably my second favourite on the grid, behind Albon. So yeah, I think the Red Bull will just be really strong. I don't know what's going to happen with Perez. Obviously, there's a chance he could end up getting dropped mid-season. I don't personally think Red Bull will do that. But I think the vast majority of Red Bull's points that Verstappen will get will mean Perez won't have to contribute enough, as much as other drivers, in order to win the Constructors. I think it'll be a pretty comfortable Constructors for Red Bull. Hopefully it will be as well. But I do like to see some of the other teams fighting the Red Bulls for the P1s and the P2s. You know, even though it's nice to see a Verstappen win, Red Bull picking up loads of constructor points, I would also like to see some teams battle the Red Bull. But a lot of teams are saying that they could be 3 to 5 tenths a lap quicker than everyone else already. So it tends to just be, you'd hope that Red Bull might have a really slow pit stop or a mechanical issue or an engine fault, anything like that, in order for some teams to win. I mean, we saw in Singapore last year, Verstappen had to start near the back, couldn't really get through because Singapore's a narrow street circuit, and Carlos Sainz took the win. And that was a lot of people said that Singapore was the best race of the season because of the fact that there was a battle between Sainz, Norris, Russell and Hamilton, and then Russell crashed on the last lap. I mean, for me, my favourite race last year was Zandvoort because of the weather conditions changing all the time. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's my Formula 1 predictions. Also, I'm going to predict Albon. I'm hoping that Williams' car will be decent this season, but I'm not 100% convinced on it this season. And obviously, some people say Albon's contract expires in 24, some say 25. Hopefully it's 25. I'd like to see him stay at Williams for another year after this at least. But I'm going to predict Albon to finish 13th. No, 12th. 12th in the driver's standings. Will it happen? We'll have to see. He'll have to get quite a few point finishes, obviously. Any like P6s, P7s, huge points really for the team. But yeah. Moving on to Formula 2. Now, obviously, Formula 2, since I've been watching it, which I started watching Formula 2 during the 2021 season. Yes, that's right, I think. And yeah, Théo Pourchaire was the driver that I supported in Formula 2. I would love to see him in Formula 1. I think he should have been in Formula 1 this season over Zhou Guanyu. I would say over Zhou Guanyu. But that hasn't happened. He's still the reserve for Sauber, and he's in Super Formula in Japan. Will he get a chance in F1? I think so. I think he will. Hopefully, will get that chance after winning the Formula 2 Championship last year against Fred Vesti. So, now it's who wins it this year. So, the main three names that have been mentioned is Oliver Bearman, who's at the top left, Victor Martins, who's at the top right, and then the young prodigy Kimi Antonelli, who's at the bottom left. Now, Kimi Antonelli skipped Formula 3, which you don't really see very much. So he's basically gone from Formula Regional, F4, whatever you want to call them, to Formula 2. It's a big jump, to be honest, because there's, yeah, obviously Verstappen went from Formula 3 to Formula 1 before it was called Formula 3. And you've seen how that gamble paid off. But obviously, if Antonelli struggles in Formula 2, it might not go well for him. He is backed by Mercedes. There is some people saying if he does well in Formula 2, he could replace Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes, which is huge. I mean, let's be honest, no driver can fill the shoes, the race boots, whatever you want to call them, of Lewis Hamilton. They just can't, okay? Plain and simple. It'll be a new look Mercedes from next year, with George Russell being the leader, and then someone else being the second driver, which could easily be Antonelli. So, who have I gone for this year? I actually quite like the Formula 2 grid, however, there's quite a lot of youngsters on it. I mean, it is a junior category, but, like, a few people I'm not too sure about. I actually think that if I'm being honest, I think the grid was better last year. You know, you had Porsche, Vesti, Jack Doohan as well, isn't racing in Formula 2 this year. Ayumu Iwasa, you know, there's 4 big names that aren't racing in it this year. And I've probably missed someone else off, to be honest. And it's not Roy Nissany, by the way. So, I've gone for third place. I've gone for Antonelli. I just think I don't think he'll struggle, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be a bit inconsistent, seeing as it's his rookie season in Formula 2. And we saw a little bit of inconsistency from Oliver Bearman in his first year. He completed the double in Baku, the sprint and the feature race, but then the round after he might have got 2 or 3 points. And that's why he wasn't in the title equation last year. So I've gone for Antonelli in third, and I was quite confident with going for that one. But then it's between Bearman and Martin, so who's going to win? Now, obviously, I liked Porsche the last couple of seasons, and he drove for ART. Porsche was Martin's teammate last year. So I'm going to be a bit biased in this one. Just a tad, because I know how good both of these drivers are. Obviously, Victor Martins won Formula 3 in 2022 against Oliver Bearman and Zane Maloney. Zane Maloney's also in this series. I think he'll get top 5, but I didn't put him in this. So, second I've gone for Oliver Bearman. And first I've gone for Victor Martins. Now, it's tough. You can order them whichever way you want to, but I am sure that these 3 will be the top 3 come the end of the season. Because Oliver Bearman is going to be racing in Prema with Kimi Antonelli, whereas Zach O'Sullivan, who's just been the runner-up in Formula 3, is going to be Victor Martins' teammate. I think that Prema will comfortably win the Constructors this year. And that's going to be the end of this video. If you've enjoyed, please drop a like. I would appreciate it. Let me know who you think is going to win Formula 1 or Formula 2. I've also going to be uploading another Spud Ball. I know it's been about 2 months. I'm going to review Liverpool's Carabao Cup win. That's going to be uploaded hopefully in the next couple of days. Maybe tomorrow. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And, yep, see you later. Peace.